It's a very good win for North Melbourne. The margin is 9 goals. Mark Harvey has a side besieged by injury, but he can only look on today.
I made a comment to him last week. I thought, you know, it was the best I'd seen him play all year. And then to be able to look 7 days later or 6 days later and see that, that's the disappointing aspect. And that's the answers we've got to find.
Goods spinning into the clear and nailing the goal. It was brilliantly done. And it's the Swans by 44. The defining win for them in 2010.
We'll see how Sydney are when they play us in CPACO. We managed to beat them earlier this year.
Yeah, well, they mean business at Sydney Swans. They know how important this game is. It'll cement a spot in the top 8 if they can get over the Dockers here at Subi this afternoon. And they've got a very good team. They're in very good form at the moment. Their star, Adam Goods, leading the way, but some of their lesser lights, Smithy, are also going very well.
Well, Ben McGlynn, recruited from Hawthorn, he was sensational last week. Heath Grundy at centre-half back. Their whole backline basically has been sensational all year, and they've hit good form right at the end of the right at the right time for the end of the season.
Well, it's a completely contrasting size grounds, if you like, because last week the SCG, the confines of the Sydney Cricket Ground, a bit bigger, a bit roomier out here at Subi.
Yeah, that's right, and this is where, you know, Fremantle will turn to look to exploit them. I think a couple of weeks ago against West Coast Eagles, they obliterated them with their run from defence. Their ball movement was sensational. So the Sydney Swans coming back from the SCG on a bigger ground in Subiaco, they might find it a little bit more difficult today.
Yeah, they will. Fremantle want to improve on last week's performance. They were very ordinary against North Melbourne. They lacked a bit of run, and that's an area you could possibly get the Swans with run.
Yeah, that's right. Mark Harvey, we just heard him say that 2 weeks ago he thought that was the best game he'd seen them play all year, and it was so disappointing that the way that they played last year, but their ball use was terrible going inside 50. Matty Pavlich basically had a little bit of an off day. Kepler Bradley struggled just in the ruck in the absence of Sandilands, but they've got to look to turn it around today.
Well, they got Zach Clark into that team this afternoon to give him a bit of a chop out, because Pro Kepler was up against two big giants in McIntosh and Goldstein last week. As we see, the Dockers, they're on the ground, but they are so young.
They are, look, and that's the thing. And the thing is that Mark Harvey, before the start of this game, has got to say, you know what, boys, we're 5th on the ladder, and we've got a young team. Yes, we've got Grover down back and McFarlane, who just adds that little bit of, intensity, I suppose, down back. But they've got such a young midfield, led by David Mundy. I think he's been sensational all year. Matty Pavlich has been a little bit down over the last 3 weeks. Look for him; he's a pretty talented, obviously, a player. It's pretty.
Let's have a look at the pressure up today. I reckon that's a key for Fremantle. Even speaking to Matty Pavlich earlier, that's an area they were disappointing last week. They need to get on top of that.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where they were good a couple of weeks ago in that pressure. But also the ball use. They were sensational against the West Coast Eagles going forward. They'll be able to find inside 50 targets, and you can't afford to turn the ball over.
No.
But the one for me, Piggers, is the run from defence. They were sensational a couple of weeks ago. Paul Duffield, Broughton. These guys are young players that can get the footy, find their own footy in the back line, and then run through, use the ball well and move it into their forward line.
Well, it should be a big game this afternoon. Joining us in commentary is the King of the West, Glenn Jakovich and Matty Campbell.
Thanks very much, Liam. We've taken a look at Fremantle. Glenn, let's take a look at Sydney. No change to their lineup. They were so good against Hawthorn last week. No surprise there.
They just got good balance through the middle of the ground. You can see Kirk, McVeigh, Melchesky's running off that half-back line wing, playing that important role. And then you get forward of the good luxury, and Mumford's playing so well. Goods goes forward with O'Keefe. McGlynn, well, he's kicking goals through the middle of the ground, is playing as a mid-half forward, high half forward. And then you've got young Jetta and Kennedy, who've been very good for him.
What about the keys for the Swans today? The stoppage game is what they've been famous for.
Yeah, they need to make it a stoppage game. Get it on their terms early, make it an inside game. If Fremantle are able to turn and get it out in the wings, it could spell some trouble for Sydney.
Adam Goods, always a key.
Well, get the ball to him. He's their marquee player. He's the one that's in red-hot form. He kicks goals, he cuts the opposition, and it forces Fremantle to get more in a defensive mindset. And last of all, get Hill on a leash. You've got to keep him. He was much criticised for his poor performance last week. Expect him to have a good game, but if he gets out and about with that penetrating left foot, he can obviously put Sydney on its back's term.
There will be some focus on him last week. He was quiet, 7 disposals.
Yep.
Brady Rawlings 38 best on ground. So he may get a Kieran Jack today, and he certainly won't make it easy for Stephen Hill.
He certainly won't, and this is part of his development. We know he's going to be a very good player in the competition, maybe a superstar, but he's had a good year. It's his second year in the competition. He's got that X factor. He runs and carries. He uses the ball so well. And if Fremantle are going to now start to push on into the finals, players like him need to dominate.
It's 5th versus 7th. It's an important game. Round 20 action coming up after the break.
Welcome back to Subiaco. The Dockers going through their final preparations. They take on the Sydney Swans, who haven't been here a lot to take on the Dockers. They've only played 6 games here at Subiaco. Fremantle have won 5 out of those 6. So, they've got the wood on them, if you like, here on the big ground.
But they have got, they have, no doubt about that. But Fremantle actually, their home form's been very good. The Swans, I think this game will suit them today. I really think they're up for this challenge. And whilst Fremantle have got to shoot for the top 4 spot, the reality of it is so does Sydney.
Let's go down to Rowan Smith at ground level for the afternoon.
Thanks, Matty. Well, I just mentioned quickly before, the run from defence for the Fremantle Dockers is so important today, and a key player for that is Paul Duffield, who's been sensational all year for the Dockers. He's number 1 in kicks, number 2 in handballs received, and number 1 for rebound 50, so the Swans will certainly have to watch him today. But on the other end as well for the Sydney Swans, that's where their drive comes from as well, and Heath Grundy, he's been such a sensational player for the Sydney Swans this year. He's one of the most improved players in the competition. He had Lance Franklin last week and had 31 touches himself. Today he's going to have a big job, Matty, on Matty Pavlich.
Thanks, Rowan. We just saw Brett Kirk win the toss. They'll kick to the right of screen. And Rowan, just before you go, no wind advantage surely today.
Matty, I'll tell you what, it is sensational down here. The sun's just gone behind the clouds, so it's a little bit cooler for the players, because when the sun was out before, it was nice and warm, but absolutely not a breath of wind down here, Matty. Beautiful.
Tried to get a little bit of wind last week. Eddie wasn't having any of it. So
tried to get something going.
It's actually quite warm down there, Matty. It's actually a very nice day for footy. And Brett Kirk with his charges there. I'll tell you what, he's a great leader, but need to get on top of him early today.
Umpires were in the news, and a big discussion point, and the Geesh has officially been unleashed here at Subiaco. There he is. Jeff Geeshan, the umpire's boss, having a look on today. So I guess the goal umpiring was a big talking point from last week. 3 decisions that all came at the same time.
They weren't ideal timing, was it?
No. What do you think, guys? I give the Swans a real chance here. I think if we see the Sydney we saw last week against Hawthorn, they can win this game.
Well, they're much better playing Fremantle this time of the year as opposed to the first 6 rounds when Fremantle up and about, no Ballantyne, no Tarrant, and obviously no Sandilands. But it affords the opportunity to other players. But young Zach Clark, Mumford, who's in sensational form, probably the best ruckman in the competition going out at the minute. He can expose young Clark, and Kepler Bradley, who's not a traditional ruckman. So expect Sydney to really dominate, or try and dominate, get it on their terms early in the middle of the ground. And you see Kieran Jack, you've got Kirk in there as well. Goods looks like he's starting in the middle. So they want to get off to a good start, Sydney, because if Fremantle get it on their terms on this big oval, they'll wear you down.
Well, Stephen Hill's one I want to keep an eye on. He's like he's going to not have an opponent for the start. Very sure they're actually making his way to Stephen Hill. Was tagged completely out of the game last week by Brady Rawlings. And he's a crucial player for Fremantle, just purely his run and carry, so the Swans will be right into that. Don't be surprised if he starts to get a few kicks, whether he goes, Kieran Jack goes to him at some stage when he's up the ground a bit more.
Well, the importance that Fremantle can sense here already, boys, because Matthew Pavlich start in the middle. You know, his form hasn't been all that good, and they need leadership in the middle of the ground now that Sandilands not there.
Fremantle defeated Sydney earlier in the year at the SCG by 37 points. Is it time for payback for the Swans?
Shane's kick.
Shane Mumford with the first free kick of the afternoon. And Mumford quickly spreading out to Kieran Jack. He's going to take it, just going to ground, trying to get it on quickly because he's got a man further field, and that's Kirk.
Worked well there, Brett Kirk.
Well, both of them did. Him and Kieran Jack, who started in the middle of the ground, have pushed forward and got uncontested possessions.
Short into the pocket, low percentage there for McVeigh. Sydney still have it though through Kirk, squaring it up, 2 or 3 there. Over the top of McGlynn it went. Now a chance for Bradley to clear for the Dockers, but Mundy's under some pressure. Did well, didn't panic. 1-2 with Broughton. Now he's in some space. McPhee presents for him. And it's a measured pass that finds him.
McPhee starting forward, high 40s.
Well, he started back last week, but just because they were short of defenders in the end.
Malcheski's off after 46 seconds. Is that interchanging for balance?
They got Jeddah on,
I'd
so
say
maybe
matchups.
just matchups and try and catch Fremantle out with young Lewis Jeddah on. He could have, he didn't hear the play on call, but he was just, his interchange was right next to that kick from McPhee.
You can see in the top of screen there, Zach Clark is a tall option, pushing back to the goal square on Richards. So we know he's really a ruckman, can play forward.
From the throw-in, we'll have a secondary bounce.
Thanks, Reece.
Stephen Hill, Reece Shaw will be a lockdown role on him because that's not the way he plays.
Play on.
So he'll probably appreciate a bit more freedom than he got maybe last week on Brady Rawlings. Stephen Hill.
Free kick will go to McVeigh underneath all of that, over the shoulder from Crichton.
Has him not yet. Mine, Jack.
Just shorting it.
Right there, Adam.
Kennelly, just not sure of his options.
Yours, Jack.
Out to McGlynn.
This sort of chip and charge sort of stuff's not bad by the Swans. Got to have good ball use doing that. They've got a long option, which is White. Mummy's pushed forward for the next kick as well. You can see they don't want to just kick it long down the line.
And what's important about it, they get it on their terms. They slow a bit of the tempo of the game down the way they want it and play it their way, because Fremantle try and stun the opposition and get a lot of pace, and they have got a lot of pace with Hill, Morabito, Mundy. They move the ball quite efficiently and quite quickly. So good early start by Sydney.
I'd be happy if I was the Dockers here, though. They've manned up really well.
They have.
That's what they wanted. They wanted the long kick. Five comes in, he's in position, and he comes in for the big spoil.
Matty, something that the Fremantle Dockers have struggled over the last couple of weeks has been the uncontested possession, so you can see that they're not allowing Sydney Swans free players at the moment.
Yeah, good point, Ron. Throw in. Bradley, clever. Voice out the back, the handball from Pavlich to Robertson.
It was a really good release out the back.
It was, wasn't it? And Ibbotson gets his kick just in time. De Boer in space. Now, this is the important kick. Johnson provides longer. It's Clark. It's not going to get there.
Good contest by McPhee.
Defended well. Coming through Matner. Won the footy. Back to Bevan. Just by hand, but it's still a chance. Robertson trying to keep it alive. Richards. Pinched by Pavlich. The captain from 40 metres left. And it's out of bounds on the full.
Would have been better to go on his left. He can get on his left, Matthew.
We'll have a look at that one at the back. That was a good tap down by Bradley, but you can see where they were lining up defensively. The Fremantle on balls across half back. That was really good set play there. Swans need to make sure they've got somewhere in the mix there in case they do lose the knockout.
2-on-1 here for the Dockers. Bradley standing tall.
Well, they've got a one in the goal square. Zach Clark against Jeddah if he goes long.
Pavlich lobbing it up. Not sure about the kick. The chance for Johnson. Grundy's caught. Crowd want a free kick. Not there.
Good gang tackle there by Johnson. Outnumbered the Sydney defender 3-1, but it's important on this stoppage here. They've got to get possibly a third man up and get someone dangerous.
There's Clark.
There's the ball over the back.
Yep. McGlynn first to it, though.
Ducked into it.
There's straight into Mundy. Bevan shovels it out. Bolton applies the tackle. Plenty of players around the ball. No surprise we have another ball up.
You can always tell at the start of the game if a team's really switched in and tuned into the game, switched on. And you can see early days that the Fremantle got a different mindset, or they appear to, even this early in the game, like nearly 5 minutes in, than they did last week against North Melbourne.
Yeah, they were prepared to let North go and do their own thing, weren't they?
They were very reactive last week. You can see they're not today, early. Whether they can sustain it, I guess.
Bolton couldn't get his kick. Goes back for a second effort. Jack working hard in close. Mundy couldn't take possession. Jack again. You see the numbers around the ball. You can see why it's so difficult to get free.
Let go. I got it. Thanks, Mike.
So the Swans have worked it out of their defensive 50 for the ball up.
Play on.
Mumford winning the knock. Jeddah through. Good hands from Kirk. McVeigh got his kick in time. Hayden in best position. He'll go. Loves to move quickly, Roger Hayden.
Hill by himself. If he can hit
Spotted
it.
Hill. Just a hand there from Shaw.
He did very well, Shaw.
Yeah.
They're in a bit of strife there.
Kennelly.
Umpire's in the way.
Yours.
Bevan. Hard one there for Kirk. 5 came through. Mumford on hands and knees back to Kirk. Bolton got it. Gave it back to Shaw. Long kick from him. White provided the contest and went back to clean up his own ball. Back to McGlynn now. Sydney finding it hard to get free here, though. It's good pressure from the Dockers. Crichton. Trying to hold it in here, McVeigh, and I'll say that will be a ball up. I just like the way the Dockers are switched on, Liam.
Absolutely. Swans yet to have an inside 50 entry.
Well, you get yourself into the game. You haven't been blown out. They haven't got no one's put scoreboard pressure here. And as the home team, you say, well, this is an arm wrestle. We've got to stay disciplined and wear the opposition down.
O'Keefe trying to thread it through to Goods.
Ooh, just a good attack on the footy.
Yeah.
That sort of just shows you where they're at early in this game.
Holding the ball against Fremantle. 2 holding it in.
Oh, no.
Well, let's have a look.
Both have come in here. Look, I mean, McFarlane, he's put the big bump on. Unfortunately, he's got his own teammate in Stephen Hill.
That's a free kick, unfortunately.
Jeddah smothered well by McFarlane.
Look at that rotation. Melchesky come off the bench. Really winning possession.
You don't give that free kick.
Hazelby appeared to be pushed in the back. Melchesky's on, kicking long. Through comes Hayden over Moore. Jack kept his feet. Moore goes again. It's still hard to score. We've played over 7 minutes. No score on the scoreboard. Very hard for players to get free. Richards now with an entry inside the forward 50 for the Swans. Out comes White. Couldn't take it. Gee, that's a fantastic goal.
Lewis, is it Dennis Lane, is it?
Dennis Lane kicks an absolute belter.
Well, the Fremantle supporters were quite animated about this. Did he come over the top? Yeah. 2 free kicks there. Slapped his arms, which you're not allowed to do, and drove him into the ground. But good work there by Jesse White, I think it was. He just...
Good contest.
Big contest. McFarlane coming into it, and the ball spills free. Dennis Lane, good goal. Well done, Trent. Good work for Sydney. They've just pushed the ball forward. It's a bit of a slogfest out there early, but they've got the first goal.
Sydney get it inside forward 50 for the first time, and a brilliant individual goal there from Trent Dennis Lane in just his 4th game. Off the outside of the boot, dribbles it through, and the Swans open the scoring, and it took some time. Pavlich off for a spell. O'Keefe. Here's Goods on the burst. Decided to kick short in front of Dennis Lane.
Well, the long options were a kick and a half away, Matty, so he had to try and hit one up, which they've been able to do early in this match.
Fife did everything right except he gave it behind his teammate. Here's Dennis Lane again. O'Keefe used the shoulder, did well. Mumford couldn't get it free. Duffield, Bradley under pressure. Handball stolen. Dennis Lane's in everything at the moment, and he shorts it up to McLean inside 50. Playing on quickly. Jeddah runs for him. 45 metres out from goal, directly in front. This should be Sydney's second.
Okay, now, the kick of Dennis Lane was a ripper. He didn't blaze away. He was 60 metres out. He could have easily just gone long under pressure, but he hit up the short target, which is McGlynn. This kick here, he could have just blazed long there, but he hit up the leading player, McGlynn, who got it on to the man who, his first goal last week. Let's see if he kicks this, what a celebration it'll be.
Well, as much has been said of his 19 behinds, with just that goal last week, and his woes in front of goal continue.
These guys have put the rocker on him.
1 goal 20.
We'll start afresh. He's had one behind today. Let's start fresh today.
Okay.
But more importantly,
just
back to your point, Liam, is they're playing a possession game. Like you mentioned, Dennis Lane didn't blaze away. They're trying to play a possession game and deny Fremantle getting the football.
He's a rookie now. He's playing his first game.
Go on.
Hayden, surely, holding the ball.
Yeah, it was a good decision. He had his prior. In fact, he had a couple of prior opportunities there, if that's possible.
Well, he took the bloke on there as well.
1, 2, no, it's on the ball. Yeah, the Fremantle fans will be saying, oh, we dragged him by the leg. Well, his tackle slipped down once it was well and truly completed.
They've gone a long way back here, the Swans, and it's untidy.
This is all right, though, because look at the space they've created on the other side of the ground.
They do get the loose man now. Malchesty from Grundy. Not a good kick from Malchesky. He's such a good user of the footy.
Started on the bench. The biggest issue we've got at the moment is Fremantle can't get their hands on the footy. Sydney 52 possessions. Fremantle 22 possessions in 10.5 minutes, only 8 kicks.
And that's a direct ploy by Sydney to get off a start like that, deny Fremantle to get any momentum, any rhythm in their game. They're just suffocating them at the minute.
Uncontested footy, an area the Swans would have looked at coming into this match. The Dockers have been smacked in that area, averaging 58 fewer uncontested possessions a game than their opposition. You can see Sydney already. They're happy to just chip it around, chip and charge. You've got to back your skill in to do that. But it's an area they reckon they can catch him.
Here's an opportunity for the Dockers. Fife going long. De Boer goes early. Misses everything. Matner will get support. Kirk.
Just had to be a little bit better there, De Boer. He's got to just bring the ball to ground. He wasn't going to take a big high mark there, just had to get it down on the ground.
The 218s do battle, White and McFarlane.
Well, McFarlane was completely out of
some
position.
strength. Kennedy, given lots of latitude. Hanbury fished it out, gave it over to McVeigh. Jetta, the take on Duffield.
He is quick, Jetta, but
Did well there. Just a little tap, got it onto Kennedy. McGlynn's in the open. Inside 50 he goes, into the pocket.
Bevan.
And he finds Bevan.
Anthony, you're on it there. Paul, that's a line. Yep. Anthony, straight across.
You can see how disciplined they are. They going the short kicks all the time. I thought he could have gone for the goal there, but gave it off to Bevan. He's got a shot now.
Doesn't kick a lot of goals, Bevan, often in the back half. Very tight angle. Sydney lead by 7 points. We saw Dennis Lane off the outside of the boot kick a goal. Bevan can't repeat the dose and he kicks it behind.
Yeah, just put De Boer here. All he had to do is engage with his direct opponent here, bring the ball down to the ground, keep it alive. But see, he loses balance, loses position. They ran the length of the ground and had a scoring shot from basically winning the possession of that half-back line.
Coming up to the halfway mark of the first quarter, Docker's still yet to get on the board.
That's a mark.
It's a mark to Robertson.
It's one-on-ones everywhere here. Let's look ahead. He's got to kick to a contest of some sort.
Poor kick.
Or do that, unfortunately.
Mattner, the man in the moment.
Wait, David.
He's off his line. He's off his line by about 5 metres.
Oh, yeah.
And yet the umpire just said, that's fine.
Well, we've seen that again. They're happy to go back to go forward here.
Hold it there, Adam.
They'll just try and build something on the other side of the ground. They can use Grundy short. They just don't like it. They're not going to kick it long. You can see that early in this match.
Good coaching by Paul Roos. He's just brought Brett Mumford back on, and Zach Clark's got into the ruck, so they're trying to expose his inexperience, and he's gone forward, Mumford.
This is McGlynn. Sydney again showing patience.
Move it on. Play on.
Hayden is a loose man down there for the Dockers, waiting.
Yep.
Not much room for Goods to work in there.
It's a good battle.
He's
here.
taking the mark.
Him and Pavlich are crossing each other's pass, and they're basically playing on each other right now. So a good mark by Adam Goods.
Balls on
He
this
can kick
side,
this.
so watch a square kick for me. Yeah.
Well, he's a star,
He's right.
as we know.
2
A
metres.
couple of Brownlow medals to boot.
Yeah. He's right.
Kicked 40 goals this season, Adam Goods. This will be one of his toughest. From the apex of the 50.
Well, he's giving it a go.
It's not bad, but it's to the right side of the post. The Swans now out to a 9-point lead. And the Dockers don't look like scoring, to be honest.
Good contest here.
50 uncontested possession, Sydney. 14. Fremantle. Talk about that discrepancy coming into the game. The Swans have obviously identified it. They're happy to play the game the way they want it to be played this afternoon. You play on your terms.
Look at the zone. I mean, our viewers won't see it from... Well, they'll see it from that angle. They're just Fremantle forced to kick short, kick wide. Can't get any flow in their game at the minute, Fremantle.
Hold it there.
Here's Pavlich, who was right on the line as well.
Move it on. Play on.
High ball. Should suit the defenders. Big leap from Clark. Easy one to spoil.
Jacko, you've got to see how when Fremantle play their best footy, they actually move the ball quickly.
Yeah.
So they're not doing that today. As you said, they can't get any flow in the game, but they've got to take the game on.
Yeah, they're being dictated to at the moment, Smithy. That's a good point.
Good clearance here.
Look at Jack's running.
Wonderful running, Jack. McGlynn kept going as well, and a clean take from him on the left boot.
Turn
White
around,
has space.
Anthony.
Oh, he bounced it off his chest. Good tackle. Bolton wouldn't let Everton free. Sydney applying the pressure. They get a ball up. Jesse White missing an opportunity.
Yeah, and he's filthy on himself because that was a great clearance from the half-back line. Kieran Jack, well done. Just his ability to win the ball and then follow up the chain of handballs. He was on the end of it. Jesse just had to mark the ball. They're just beating him at the stoppages with these at the minute, Sydney are.
McVeigh long. White got a hand on it. Still alive. Hits the post.
All clear. Under pressure.
Talk about effectiveness at a stoppage. Great work to the moving player. That's the most dangerous one. It was Kieran Jack. You look at this, the way they ran it up. McGlynn's a great little hard runner. And he kicked this. Grover had no body contact at all. What needed to do was just hold the chest mark. And you would say massive tick for that setup from the stoppage.
Bring it in. Play on.
Dockers still yet to score. Sydney, though, only the 10 points. Two quick kicks. All of a sudden, all this work is out the door.
Move it on. Play on, play on, play
Mundy
on.
told to move. High ball.
Play on.
Spoiled a ground, first to it. Hazelby losing his footing. McPhee without it. Chance for Sydney. Go back again. Grundy and turn back to Malcheski. Now he can stop and assess what's ahead of him.
Play on.
Switching to Bevan. Missed his target. Malcheski's radar's a bit off at the moment.
Good attack by De Boer.
He is hard.
Did well.
Handball over the top.
Free kick.
Free kick to Walters. He didn't know he had it. He's going to go back now. And Sonny Walters a shot on goal.
Well, let's have another look at this because he just needed to sweat on him a bit there. He was always going to take possession. He had no idea that Malcheski was coming. Just needed to slow up a little bit there. I'm not sure there was a lot in the free kick.
Well, Michael Vosso's giving the explanation, but Michael Walters kicks this goal. He'll need to go straight over, which he will, and pat his mate on the back in Matty De Boer.
This for the first goal of the afternoon for the Dockers, but also Michael Walters' first goal in AFL football.
Got it.
He likes it. The Dockers on the board, and so is Walters.
Well, you've got to get this into your game, and Matty De Boer, a 50-50. Look at his commitment on the contest. That's where it spills out, because he went for the body. He kept his eyes on the hips, follows his own foot, he wins the ball, and there goes the free kick. Just a little bit overzealous there, Malcheski went over the top. Had to go lower like De Boer did. He went a bit higher there, and that's why he went over the top and gave a free kick. Just what Fremantle needed, a spark, and it came from one of their younger players in Matty De Boer, because you know how he's going to hit the contest, and that's flat out.
Well, it took 17 minutes. Walters kicks the goal and gets a spell. But all of a sudden, as I say, just the one kick. It's, for all Sydney's good work, they're 4 points in front.
Yeah, well, they've blown a couple of opportunities, the Swans. They've only had 6 entries, mind you, and they've hit 5 times they've hit the scoreboard. So 1-4 of 6 entries, the Swans. So they're going pretty well.
Handball out. Kirk. Again, they go back. Now, Chesky. And here's the target this time. That's better.
Play on.
Spilt by McVeigh. The kick was spot on. Jack.
Again, he looked up and he doesn't want to kick to a one-on-one. They're going to run and carry as much as they can. He's John the Guinea here, Jack. We'll get on the end of this.
Now Chesky decides not to use him, decides to go long.
Holding the arm, free kick. Holding the arm.
He was in good position.
Big mummy.
Yep.
He's not arguing. So from up here, I would have liked to have seen the replay, but
we marked it anyway.
Yeah.
Huge, good body.
Yeah,
He's holding the arm and he marked it.
Even you couldn't have got away with that in your prime, Jacko. They're tugging onto someone's arm.
Well, the King of the West, he got away with a few things.
He did, my word. And Mumford needs to make sure he doesn't miss something like that. It could build up again by the Swans.
Wonderful recruit this year. Yeah, hits it
Good
nicely.
kick.
The answering goal to the Swans straight away. It's Subiaco.
Well, an area for concern is for Fremantle is Shane Mumford moving forward. He's in form. He's the in-form ruckman in the competition right at the minute because Hanlands is injured. And him going forward, he's exposing Zach Clark, and we know that Kepler Bradley is not a predominant ruckman, but him going forward, look at the height difference here, and someone like Anthony Grover is not used to a big body like that. Just won a 50-50. Had to go back and kick the goal. Very important that you capitalise your big ruckman going forward, kicking goals.
Well, and it's the run and carry of the Swans. It's causing all sorts of headaches for Fremantle at the moment. 37 handball receives to the Swans to 11. And you saw Jack involved in that, Malcheski involved in that. A lot of those left footers, they're running much harder than Fremantle at the moment.
Rowan Smith at ground level.
Well, Matty Pavlich has actually just had a boot blowout, boys. Half the sole has come off his boot. He's just sent a trainer to go down to get some extra boots. They're just taping him up at the moment.
Look at the spread here.
Boot blowout.
Bill McGlynn, he's up to his 9th possession now.
He's been busy and he's hit the target.
What's this young bloke playing a few of the reserves games for the Swans? Really knows how to kick a goal.
His first one was a ripper.
Yeah, he's a very clever player. He's going to take his best work. Jack, you've kicked plenty of them. I know it's not where you guys run out, which is the other side of the ground, but
used to many years ago.
Going to go that left post for mine.
This is the anti-vortex here at Subiaco.
It's the other way around.
Yeah. Thanks, Glenn. Dennis Lane for his second, always to the wrong side. In fact, he only just sneaks that in from behind.
They are dominating here, Sydney. 91 possessions to 36.
They've got to get someone on Kieran Jack. That's the first thing.
Well, and the other one that's doing a massive amount of damage is McGlynn. His spread from stoppages has been outstanding.
7 scoring shots to 1.
But they haven't really iced it because it's 2-5. But the general run of play is Fremantle need to try and develop some run. At the moment, they're just sort of forced to kick over the man on the mark. Swans aren't going to do that.
It's a classic, it's a classic case. The Swans are dictating. They're playing the game they want to play it that way. Yeah.
Well, they're prepared to just go inside, go backwards, give some ground, and then create some run from there. And look at this, the confusion.
Shammer with the big switch.
Not a bad option, though. That's what they need to do a bit more of. A bit more of this stuff. They've got to use good skill, and that's not a great kick.
No.
That's going to hurt him on the turnaround because Mummy's got 40 it.
There's Mumford again, but it falls for Crichton. Broughton. With time, away he goes. Trying to draw the man. Essentially, he does get what he wants.
This is a better run, though.
Yeah, that's it. Away he goes. More bounces for Broughton. What an individual effort. Runs to 55 metres. Hits it low into the pocket. Well done, the assist from Broughton. De Boer owes him a goal.
The beauty about that was he didn't bomb away as...
Oh, he's
got him. He's just got him. But he could have been... He saw the Sydney players gravitating back towards Matthew Pavlich, and Broughton should have put it probably on the top of the goal square, or you would have expected it. If he had done that, Sydney would have ran the length of the ground and be at the other end. But he found Matty de Boer in the pocket, but he had to execute the kick, which he did, and that's the reason why. Good to run and carry it, but the second part of it is you've got to hit a target.
It was a tight sort of kick, but he had run 200 metres. Pav needs to finish here.
Pavlich right behind him. Oh, he's missed that. Had stayed it out there the whole time. Big miss from the skipper. He's got the boots right.
Boots blown out.
Look at this. Now this is exactly what they need. So there's 2 bounces.
Look at his vision. He's always looking up. He's always looking up for an option.
Yeah, I love the way he ran on there. They didn't want to give him that option there from Jude Bolton.
Now Sydney are filing back here, and he sees that. He hangs on to it a little bit more, and then the little one. There it is.
Tidy sort of kick.
Well, that's a good leap there from Ibbotson. Docker's trying to press back in here.
Over the back.
De Boer's got it this time.
Came
off to Pavlich before. This time he's going to take a shot.
Yeah, he's got to back himself.
He's been their most dangerous forward. They haven't had a huge amount of entries.
But see, his teammates have got to say, go back and have a shot and give him the confidence.
He's kicked 4 goals for the year. He'd love to make it 5 right now.
See, I don't reckon he prepared all that well for that. He made the distance. It was a good kick off the boot. He just pushed it left a little bit, but he had 4 players running around him to peel it off. Now, you've got to encourage your players or your teammates to have a shot on goal when it's most effective or most important. And on that occasion, they needed a goal.
Grundy just trying to run it down the line.
We see this boundary throwing about to come. An area they are getting smashed, Fremantle. 9-1 at the clearances at the moment. So the setup of Sydney's been really good. They've got mobile players around there. If you look out the back, Bevan's there.
Hill went without it. Kennedy didn't. Quick hands from Kirk to Jeddah. Goods one-on-one. Grover did well, and he's happy to see it over the line.
So no, that's 10-1 from the stoppages.
He's got a big job there, Grover, because he had Mumford one-on-one before, and now he's got Adam Goods one-on-one. So it's an area that, because there's no Chris Tarrant down there, Sydney are trying to exploit a bit more.
Clark was over the back, thought about taking it out of the ruck. Not sure about that for an option, but we'll have another ball up.
Held it.
As you can get it, it's a very low percentage off, because then you can get someone just needs to tackle you.
Straight back here, guys, straight back.
So I like the Swans are doing here. They're pretty much one-on-one, but then they free up a couple of moving players at each stoppage.
Hill got kicked to it.
Good run.
Mark's it, hey!
Strong hands, McPhee. Now there's a switch. And some hard running required here by the Dockers. Robertson has Subin going through the middle. Spots him. Space from Jeddah, but Subin's still a chance. Going to ground, a little bit slippery. Robertson kept going. Good support running from him. Long ball in. Clark going back. It feeds back towards Johnson. Clever handball.
Good pickup.
Chance by Walter.
He's coming around.
He's coming around.
He's got it.
How about that? To Hazelby in the square.
Good mark. Well, it's the first time they've been able to hit their forward line with any penetration, bit of pace. Sydney weren't able to get numbers back. Had a shot on goal, and that's what you need to do. A shot at goal, which was important. And Paul Hasleby.
He slots it. The Dockers get their second.
Well, certainly was. Great play by a young player, Sonny Walters, who did it beautifully. I loved his pickup. And good pressure. Look at this. Under a bit of pressure, just quickly got it on. And it was a good mark in the goal square by Paul Hasleby. Let's have a look at this. I wasn't sure he marked it in the goal square, to be perfectly honest. The umpire put him straight back in front. Let's have a little look at this one. Benefit of the doubt.
Oh, no, his feet landed in there.
Mark Harvey down at ground level. Just a quick chat with Hasleby, the goal kicker.
Well, they got themselves back into it. Sydney have dominated it in all the statistics, the key ones, and they only find themselves 3 points in front.
Lay on.
Gee, they want to get this right, though. They're getting smacked.
And again,
Mike's playing well. Kieran Jack.
Well, he's coming up to the contest and leaving his direct opponent in his way.
Chance for Fife. Running for him, Pavlich. The kick is a poor one. He kicked it straight back to Mumford. Pavlich wanted it further wide. Mumford short.
Play on.
Milcheski had to kick. Goods.
It's a good kick in the end.
It was, wasn't it?
Stay out of it.
I like their mobile forwards here. You can see he's short. Reece Shaw, I should say. But the one long option was the big fella there, Jesse White, who did well.
He won it, gave it over to Jack. Here's Shaw round the corner. It's touched. It's a loose ball. McFarlane's going to back himself. Terrific run from McFarlane. A bounce and a handball over the top to Johnson. They can get free here with some hard running. He's got Bradley as an option. He uses him. He's up quickly. Realising the situation. The handball is a poor one, though. The idea was right. Still going, Bradley.
Good kick.
Oh, that's clever. 2-on-1. Tap beautifully back to Johnson. Intelligent football, the Dockers.
Good mark.
And there's Walters again.
Right on the sign. This will be his third scoring assist or goal that he's been involved in. He kicked the first one, got the second one to Paul Hasleby, and he can now kick the third one for their side. Him and De Boer have been quite lively up for Fremantle.
Yeah. They've been clearly their best two forwards.
Just his fourth game. He kicked his first goal earlier. Now for 2 1/4.
That could be leading at quarter time.
And exactly right.
All the players being with Sydney.
Roos would be headless if they go in a quarter time behind.
The fans will tell us the story here because the Dockers could be in front.
He's got to get it right here.
Walters for his second. The fans like it. Quarter time here at Subiaco. And they've trailed the whole quarter, but they go to the break 3 points in front. The Dockers in form. Through comes Hayden over Moore. Jack kept his feet. Moore goes again. It's still hard to score. We've played over 7 minutes. No score on the scoreboard. Very hard for players to get free. Richards now with an entry inside the forward 50 for the Swans. Out comes White. Couldn't take it. Gee, that's a fantastic goal.
Is it Dennis Lane, is it?
Dennis Lane kicks an absolute belter. Finally did break the drought, but at quarter time, the Dockers stole the lead right on the siren. Michael Walters has 2 goals. I did mention that it was his first in AFL football. He did kick 2 goals last year, first for this season, so my correction there. Hasleby a goal, and Dennis Lane, that one we saw. Kirk and McGlynn, plenty of possession for the Sydney Swans. Let's go to Rowan. Rowan.
Well, Matty, you could see right from the opening bounce, the Sydney Swans wanted to play a possession-style game. They didn't want to allow the Fremantle Dockers to be able to run with the ball and just basically kept possession of the game. We can have a look at the stats now. You can see the disposals there, the Sydney Swans 103 to 67, so they've dominated in that area. The uncontested possessions, the Dockers actually came back towards the end of that first quarter, but the clearances, total dominance there by the Sydney Swans. But the inside 50s, 10 to 11, they're quite even, and the Fremantle Dockers got on top there at the end, taking the lead there at the end of the quarter. But the way the Fremantle Dockers turned the game around was they were just able to win the ball down in defence, and they were able to run it through a chain. So the way that the Sydney Swans wanted to play possession style. But if the Fremantle Dockers win the footy and they move it quickly, they're going to be able to score against the Sydney Swans, Matty.
Thanks, Ron.
They've taken the Mickey a little bit here. The coaches, 38 to 34 interchanges. We have look at a couple of...
The future's bright for the Dockers. It's so bright they've got to wear shades.
A couple of cool dudes, the tall and the small, but the coaches are saying, well, if we have to cap it at 80, They'd have no rotations for the second half, the pace they're on at the moment.
Missing Sandilands and Ballantyne in the stand. And also we saw Michael Barlow earlier on today walking around on crutches. It's such an important injury, his broken leg.
It's interesting, isn't it, that they've put Clark into the side and he's hardly been on the ball. Bradley's done most of the ruck work and they're getting killed in there.
Hill only the one possession.
Dockers in front, though. That's the important thing. They lead by 3 points after Sydney controlled the quarter. Mundy and Goods battling. Fife is there as well.
It was really good perseverance in that quarter by Fremantle because purely on the flow of the game, Sydney are right on top. I'd like to have Michael Barlow out there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we won't be seeing him again this year.
Got out.
Another clearance. Gee.
Oh, he just slipped there, McGlynn. Managed to get it going forward.
Good take.
Subin. Clever. There's Hill. Missed the target, but it's out in front of Walters. The goal kicker.
Very clean player, Sonny Walters.
Saw him play a bit in the under-18 championships.
What a
Very
kick.
impressive.
You can't stop that.
De Boer has Mundy cruising past. Johnson was second in the queue, and Johnson, a shot at goal for him.
Well, started with Subin off the half-back line. He won the football, won a 50-50, evaded 2 tackles, got on his left foot and got going.
It was a good build-up, wasn't it?
Yep. Again, Walters involved.
Well, he's got super pace, but what he is a very clean player. He's a beautiful ball user. Went through all the way through the AIS as a junior.
Johnson, for the opening score of the quarter, gets close to the man on the mark, but gets plenty of distance and gets the accuracy he deserves.
Well, I mentioned Subin off that half-back line, which and Greg Borton getting the ball as well. There it is there, just winning the contest and then getting over to Hill, got him to the game a little bit. He's got to just get out in that outer wing and run it, but what a clean pair of hands and clean pair of heels, as you mentioned, Liam.
Well, really Bevan needed to get the left side of him there, but you don't really want to give away the corridor, but it was a good build-up. Good kick by Mundy too, and no doubt he was aiming for Johnson, who you can see he's got a height advantage over Kennelly.
Put it down in Kennelly's mind as well.
Well, it was 7 scoring shots to 1. It's now 7-6.
Yeah, but more importantly, they've kicked 4 goals from their 6 shots, whereas the Swans have blown a couple of opportunities.
So a lot to like about the Dockers, just soaking up some of that pressure early and now starting to get things moving.
Well, Ryan O'Keefe's been very quiet, just 2 possessions and they're both handballs, so been okay on him, Mundy, at the moment. Mundy's been okay.
Hill's trying to get to O'Keefe and Shaw's trying to get to Hill, so good work by Hill. He's trying to learn another facet of the game and go tagging someone if he's not getting it, try and get a defensive mindset.
McVeigh off the ground, first to it though for the Dockers. Hayden, McFarlane, here's Hill, Shaw right with him.
Good pressure.
Duffield on hands and knees, but coming through and pinching it.
This.
And he's going to get a free kick there. Advantage paid to Goods. It could be Moore's.
Now
It's coming back to Moore.
Wow, no advantage. Doesn't want to miss it, Liam.
Well, Adam Goods knew damn well it was a free kick to Jared Moore, so he thought, I'll have a snap, have a bit of a 50-50 here. He kicked the goal right through the middle.
Thanks, mate.
But the umpire had already blown time off. So no advantage. You shouldn't have any problems from here, though. Smithy, any breeze down there that you need to worry about?
Plenty.
Hardly any at all. Piggers, not like it Eddie had last week, but
You just keep an eye on that, Rowan. You keep an eye on that breeze.
You're my weatherman, Smithy, down there.
Oh, it's whirling. Look at those flags. They're whirling around.
Used to be known as the Rain Man, but I think Lee Colbert's taken that over. Moore to finish off.
Good kick.
Kicks it straight through the middle.
Well, good goal. Important goal for Sydney. Fremantle had kicked the last 3. But good pressure. Shaw, who's doing a really good job on Stephen Hill. And they just kept it alive there. Unfortunately, Duffield couldn't find his teammate. And then good head over the footy sort of stuff. Take the tackle. Just a fraction high. Didn't look like much from there, but it was.
Got the
over
push.
the shoulder. Got a bit of a push in the back.
Yeah, the
a good
umpire
finish.
just behind called a push in the back.
Yep, it was a good decision.
Goal number 10 for 2010, Jared Moore. Margin back to 3 points. Swans looking to seal a position in the finals. Dockers looking to just keep maybe a chance of a top 4 spot alive.
Yeah, they want to rejig their foot in the middle of the ground
middle of the
stuff.
ground. They're just still continuing to get belted in the middle of the ground.
Well, I'm not sure like Clark
Look at the pressure. They're hunting their main keys in the middle of the ground, which is Mundy, Pavlich when they get the ball. They're just gang tackling him.
Well done, Roger Hayden.
Yeah, Roger Hayden went back in front of traffic. Pavlich there to help out. Bradley has space. Going to need it. Off to Johnson. Broughton. He's not sure. Down the line he goes. Morabito, well, he's...
Call him in. He has to call him in.
Oh, Bradley. So lack of communication, but it's okay in the end.
Well, Big Kepler's worked really hard. He's taken 4 marks. He's had 8 possessions.
This is where they've got to keep the possession game and hit targets here, because Sydney have just pushed Ted Richards back down.
It's a mongrel
and
kick.
he's going to get the ball.
Richards has swallowed it out.
Sure what he's trying to do there, Ted Richards.
He's just punching the ball.
Here's the Dockers. I mean, Morabito's in great position there.
Nah, look, he was. His opponent fell over as well.
But he sensed that
well, I think
Kepler was coming, so yeah, fair enough. That's all right.
No, I disagree. Bradley should have called him in.
Okay.
There you go. That's our first disagreement for the afternoon. Let's leave it at that.
But you want your little blokes on the ground getting the handball and running the football, Matty. You want your big blokes taking the big marks. So I reckon they got the roles right there. So
spoken unauthorised by Glenn Jakovic, the big bloke in the box. You're right. I agree with you. I think he had to go for it. The big fella.
Yeah.
Nice mark.
From the throw-in.
Not another clearance to Sydney. This is getting a bit of a joke, really.
Mumford got it out wide. Hanbury further to Moore. Now that's vision from him. Kirk, Jack. Open forward line. He can keep going, Kieran Jackie. Now he wants Jet along. White coming in late. And Grover cleaning it up for the Dockers.
It's about the 4-score launch that they've got directly. I know, Matty, you're looking at me funny. A score launch. From half-back. Well, they're running it all the way down from a stoppage.
Do Champion Data know about the score launches?
It's a new one.
Or is that just a NASA thing?
I'm just trying to reinvent
Score launch. Just writing that down there. Score launch.
Well, and a lot of the
copyright on that.
A lot of the times has been Kieran Jack involved, and he was involved again.
Well, he's the go-to player because his run and carry of the ball with pace is quite evident on this oval.
Hayden. Big punch from Bevan. How's that for a spoil? And he lets Walters know about it.
It's Bluey McInnes sort of stuff, Jacko.
Look at this.
Kill the ball. That's how you kill it.
Emphatic.
Good old days, you used to take an ear with it as your fist came through.
That was the point, not the ball.
That's the 4th stoppage that they've won out of 18.
De Boer strong in the tackle. Got it back to Clark. Now De Boer's going to run out of room here.
Did well.
Walters in through traffic and out the other side.
Dumped into ground.
It'll be a Walters free kick against Mike Pike.
Mark's there. Clark.
Bit of a switch here.
Now they're trying to set it up. They realise they've got one wider in Grover.
Broughton's got to get involved here. He's just got caught manning space, but he's now pushing forward for the handball. This is what they need to get going.
Is it going to sit for him? It does now. And off he goes again. Broughton.
He missed the lead from Johnson. Now it's the big kick.
Into space, he kicks it towards Hazelby.
Oh, he's dropped that.
They didn't take the mark. Hazelby lurking. Trying to get boots of ball, trying to manufacture a goal from nothing. Ball up just outside the forward square.
Well, it should have been a free kick here. It was a bit dangerous, but the one beforehand, he just manhandled his direct opponent.
Well, that was
which
the
was
one you're saying.
Mark Matner.
Him up the bum.
Correct. Here's Hazelby again.
I don't mind Hazelby as a forward. I'd like to see him, given they're getting smacked around the stoppages, I wouldn't mind seeing him on the ball just at the moment, but I like him forward.
He's kicked it. Oh,
McPhee,
nearly.
almost a miraculous goal.
Padding robbed him.
Yep. Take a look at this.
Oh, he swung it around too, nicely. No, you're right, Liam. Good point. You bring. He started his career as a prominent midfielder. Paul Hazelby was an All-Australian as a midfielder. Good forward. He takes a good mark, but at a stage now where they're getting beaten in the clearances quite convincingly.
Well, he's a natural.
Wouldn't hurt to put him up there,
Yeah, natural around the stoppages because he reads the game well. So they've got Morabito, who's only a young player. Mundy, who's been pretty good, doing a real good job on O'Keefe, who's now starting to follow him. But again, another clearance win to the Swans. Just haven't got it on the scoreboard yet, the Swans. Everything's telling you that they should be dominating this game.
Fremantle are in front.
Oh, word.
4 points is the margin. Robinson's run himself into trouble. Duffield back to Broughton now. Whoops. Just a spill there from Ibbotson. Hanbury, McGlynn, 1-2. Exciting young talent, Hanbury. Jeddah has goods inboard. It might bounce for him. It didn't.
McGlynn's here, though.
McGlynn. Man forward is White. McGlynn doesn't need him. He just goes alone and kicks a sausage roll.
Well, Dylan Robinson won't like this on his highlight reel come Monday because he had to just be a little bit more desperate in following McGlynn here. They just kept the ball alive, Sydney. There's a couple of 50-50s here, but if you just keep working hard, they just got the ball over, and you see Jeddah, he's on the corner of his eyes, you can see Adam Goods. It was a poor kick that was executed, but look at Dylan Robinson right here now. He had to be a bit more desperate. He tried to push him off the line. Can't push the bloke like that. You've got to get in and get the football, or kill it, push it out of the boundary line.
Okay, boys, he's having a good game, Ben McGlynn. That was a goal that puts the Swans back in front.
We can see there he's trying to get Stephen Hill into the game, so Shaw's going to run with him. Hill's trying to go with McGlynn. It's not going to happen. Duffield's got McGlynn, and McGlynn's probably the best player on the ground at the moment.
Yeah, he's going well, isn't he?
13 touches, 4 inside 50s and a goal.
Block against Fremantle, Sydney kick. You went too early.
That's the second time that's happened.
Fans not all that happy. Tell you who also playing well is Brett Kirk.
Yep.
He's up to 12 touches as well.
Yeah, he's on it.
He was there at the moment, but the kick from
That's it, Ben.
Pike didn't make him.
Smithy, when that young fella came off the ground, Robertson, then I saw Mark Harvey talking to him.
Yeah, because I just think he's got a little bit lost. The way that he won the ball really well there in the defensive, and he just actually ran around in a circle. So he just basically wanted him to be a little bit more direct and play direct footy.
Yeah, good work, Smithy. That's the beauty of having the coach on the boundary line. Give that message straight away.
Holding the man, Michael Johnson's kick.
Well, there's it was play after he got in the contest. Here's the chat from Harvey to Robertson. That is, you're right, Liam, that is just a great bonus to have the coach right there on the spot. So the timing of the chat is right.
They were away, Sydney, but well done by Morabito. Just won a 50-50, pushed the ball forward to Fremantle, and Michael Johnson ended up getting a free kick. And now they have a chance to get the lead back, but more importantly, have a shot at goal. Kick this goal by Garrick Ibbotson against the run of play, because Sydney's last 4 or 5 minutes has been quite dominant.
Ibbotson.
Thanks, Reece. I'm watching.
Directly in front to put the Dockers.
Thank you.
Pushed it.
Oh, he's just pushed, pulled it left. Harvey looking on.
Blood rule, Michael. You got blood. Okay.
Now there's a blood rule.
Boys, hold on. We got a blood rule. This way.
Johnson will come off for the blood rule. The margin is just 1 point.
Just hold it. Blood rule. Blood rule.
It's a quick change. Johnson goes to the bench.
You can see the Swans players there huddling about 40 metres out in the corridor. They'll break from there. We'll know that Fremantle will try and hold their zone.
This is the bloke coming on now. Okay.
So Robertson on.
All right, mate. Yep, no closer. Anthony.
You can see Matner there saying, right, now it's time to break, boys. Not really breaking with any purpose, I might add.
Hanbury got free.
Hold it, Paul.
So, there are 3 or 4 very similar players, haven't they, Sydney? Hanbury, Jack, Bevan. I know Bevan's a right footer. And O'Keefe.
Yep.
Hard to tell them apart when they're in full flight. But Hanbury's a beauty.
Oh, he's favourite for the rising star. He's hard to beat for that.
Is he still favourite?
Yep.
Yeah, I'd bet my money on him if I was having a bet.
Dennis Lane. Well, he put his teammate under pressure in Grundy, but he got it back from him. Into the pocket, the lead from McGlynn. Still going, Sydney. Under pressure here, Grover.
Good pick up.
Did okay to Clark. Well, got around Mumford. There's still pressure from the Swans. Duffield wins the free.
Good work by Fremantle. It was under pressure there. You've got to take your hat off to a lot of the youngsters who are involved in their first touch. They were clean with their hands. Ibbotson, Duffield, even Zach Clark in there was amongst a bit of pressure. So it was good play by Fremantle.
Fine there, Jesse.
1 point ball game still. McFarlane back to Duffield.
Play on.
He has time to go. Run and carry on a Saturday afternoon in the sunlight at Subiaco. Wonderful conditions for a good game. A close finish on the cards. Richards, 4th in the queue. Bolton came in front. And it's a ball in.
Because I'm just going to ask you a question here. Stephen Hill, you mentioned that one before where he's trying to run with Ben McGlynn. Now, Ben McGlynn's been a dominant player in the midfield. Ben McGlynn's taken him to basically to full back. Who's the winner there? So has he taken Ben McGlynn out of the play or Stephen Hill out of the play?
Well,
Swans are the winner there.
Absolutely, they're the winner. Look, the thing about it is that he's going to force him to defend something he's not used to doing, and McGlynn is very good in that area. This was his original opponent, Stephen Hill. They've just got him. They've got him at the changeover here.
He should goal this. Shaw inside 50, off the bounce, sends it home to the wrong side of the post.
Marty Matner just got free off their half back line. They got disorganised there, Fremantle.
Now Hill to kick in.
They're just trying to get him into the game. Look, he's a young player. He's going to be a star. We know that.
He's already a star, really, isn't he? I mean, he's already a key player for
Look at the pace. Well, McGlynn's not slow. I like seeing this. I think he's got himself in a bit of strife. But I like the idea.
Yeah, at least he's thinking about trying to get himself into the game and trying to create something.
Well, young players that burst onto the scene and hasn't got as much senior experience around him at the moment.
You can't be too critical of that, at least.
No, exactly right. It's learning. He'll learn about the game. He'll learn about what a good run with player did last week.
Just a changing face of AFL. We saw both coaches in the one shot down at ground level. A few years back, unheard of.
Unheard of. In fact, speaking to David Parkin about that, Parko reckoned it was impossible to watch it from the boundary line. Gives a massive, different perspective, no doubt.
Not 15. A kick from Hanbury to O'Keefe. Now Hanbury's going to get it back.
A lot of numbers here. That's why he couldn't go long. Pretty much the whole ground, the whole 50 has got players in it when he looks up.
Yep. And that is, except for he's got no real chance here. He's going to have to just try and find some. That's it. He had nowhere to kick it.
Look at all those numbers to the left of the screen.
The Dockers have got them all back. That is ahead of. That's a great shot of what Shaw looks up and sees.
Well, sometimes you just got to hit it high, make a defender stand underneath it, and at least make a contest. Hope you can get some runners in there, but it is difficult when there's no space to work in.
Malcheski trying to thread it through. Well, he did. McVeigh let him down, dropped the mark.
Nothing up forward, Fremantle here, so they've got to be patient where they're next.
Oh,
so
dear.
There's the turnover.
That wasn't patient. Jetta. Oh, Kepler, the goalkeeper, stole it.
Yeah, it was good work.
Fife a second chance. Well, he's had a poor couple of minutes, Nathan Fife. Malcheski up and at him.
Gee, he did well there.
Didn't he? Still hard for anyone to break free. If Kirk can't do it, Pavlich might be able to. Bradley. Robertson. Pavlich. Chance. Down the line it went. Oh, well done. Clean hands, Hazelby.
Needs to be clean here.
Mumford.
Did well.
Come up to the contest, Mumford, which was important, or else Matthew Pavlich would have ran away with it. Good tackle by Zach Kennedy. Should have been rewarded.
He got out of the tackle somehow. The kick from Malcheski's untidy. Dennis Lane can't take it. Duffield can. The last 2 minutes haven't been pretty, but it's all about pressure. Dennis Lane
good vision.
Sees a man over the top in front of Kieran Jack. Now he's a left footer.
I know that. Well,
He went to ground. Still going Sydney. Jetta.
Oh, he's in between for kicks there.
Knocked forward by Crichton. Still Sydney persist. Still they go forward. Hanbury to Goods. 55 metres out from goal.
He doesn't seriously think he can make the distance, does he?
Why not?
Because he's way too far out. He's going to have to kick this.
5 metres out. Anyone can do that.
He is going to kick this from the line of the centre.
The wind will get it.
What wind?
Look at it. Look at the flags.
Jeez, he's going to have to kick it.
If he gets it up, he'll get it right up here.
There's no tall player in the goal square.
McVeigh's his target. He had us fooled.
Got it too.
And he got it to McVeigh. He's just too smart. Adam Goods.
But what about the kick to the advantage of McVeigh?
Yep. The last 3 minutes weren't pretty.
Couldn't do anything here.
No, they weren't pretty, Matty.
No.
That's an understatement.
But that's Sydney's football. And Fremantle didn't go forward to the centre once in the last 4 or 5 minutes. They've got it on their terms. They've got the lead back. Fremantle kicked a couple of consecutive goals. And now they're back into it here. This will really put a bit of pressure on Fremantle if he kicks this goal.
McVeigh, wrong side of the post. Sydney by 3 points. Low-scoring game here. Flags are just picking up on top of the stand, Rowan. Is that just above the actual ground, or is there something at ground level?
No, nothing at ground level, matey, but it definitely is going the way of the Sydney Swans, as the flags are suggesting.
Yeah, because they were down before the game. There was no movement whatsoever in the flags. Anyway, it's Johnson down the line, looking for Pavlich. Shammer, well, that's off the boot. That'll be a free kick. That'll be a Dockers kick.
Josh Kennedy's playing on Pavlich when he's in the midfield, which isn't a bad matchup. I mean, he's not super quick, Kennedy, but he's a big body.
He's got some size.
You got Walters, if he can get it to him. He's all alone.
He's coming in now. The bounces past everyone. Pike's in trouble.
Big tackle.
De Boer, chance for him to put Fremantle back in front.
Well, he was by himself there, young Walters, and he just had to make a contest, which he did. He was all alone. The kick wasn't probably to his advantage, but he had to go here because he had Marty Mattner there. But McPhee had to tackle with effect, spilt the ball out to De Boer, kept the ball going forward. Good. So, two good plays there by Adam McPhee. The tackle, and then the Shepherd afterwards. Bang.
Talk about
knocked the ball
pressure.
out.
That's right.
Kept the ball alive in the forward line. And he's been lively, De Boer. Good creating option.
Matt De Boer, the goal. Lovely assist from McPhee.
Does that count as an assist? The tackle and then the Shepherd? Should, if it doesn't, as a goal assist, because it just gave a little bit of space for De Boer to run into the goals.
Yep, it should. From the clearance, Mundy slipped it to Broughton. His kick looking for De Boer, just a little bit too high for him.
Just like to probably see, Fremantle probably prefer that kick from Broughton more inside. It went a little bit wide, that one, when they got good pressing pressure on Sydney's defence. They got Michael Johnson and Adam McPhee, big bodies leading in the vision of the ball carry. Probably need to swing his left foot towards them and get that ball more inside the goal mouth.
They have been better. We spoke at the first quarter about their inability to win the ball at stoppages. Fremantle was 11-2 at quarter time. They've evened up a tad at 7-5 for the quarter, so they've been a bit better this quarter than they were. Just need to generate something. Sydney have been able to generate scores, or as I like to say, Matty, launches.
Score launches. Well, you've got champion data looking up the official version of a tad. Because I do believe it's 2 times a smidgen.
Well, this is a good game of footy from two teams that will play finals. It's a matter of what position. Both of them want home finals. Swans can get the 6th, they'll get a home final. Fremantle will get the 5th, they'll get a home final.
There's a lot on this game.
My word, there is.
And here's more from the clearance. Tumble kick, it didn't really give White a chance. Dennis Lane did okay to get it back to Moore. Just pulled the kick, touched. Away goes Hayden, who got it from Ibbotson. Kick is, Morabito.
Oh, he's waiting.
Again, some communication.
Yeah, lack of talk there. McPhee was wanting to call his player in, he just didn't hear him.
Bolton's kick out wide, but it should suit. Well, it's almost as if he kicked it to Mundy.
Well, that's what Ryan O'Keefe motion there, but having an ordinary kick.
That was not the right option. Kennelly by hand back to Moore. Spots up looking for McGlynn. He ran underneath it. Ibbotson to clean up by hand to Mundy. It'll go back to Ibbotson.
Ball was on the ground when I blew it. High tackle here.
Let's have a look at this one here. Free allowed his opponent to run straight past him.
So he's got the brakes on here. He's got to have a better awareness that Marty Mattner's coming through.
No, he was calling. Morabito,
but if you're going to do that, you know you direct opponents behind you.
You protect the back.
Agreed.
Crichton to Fife. Running past Duffield into the pocket. It's all Swans here.
Got to work a lot harder there, Michael Walters. He's pointing the finger, should have put it somewhere else, but regardless, the kick went deep in the forward pocket and he was just limbering along here. He's got to put his arms out here and stop Marty Mattner coming through. He's calling through. That's okay, but don't put your hands up there and say, well, what are you doing?
Well, he's calling him in for no real reason. The ball was kicked to him. He's the forward. He's a presenting forward. He had to just take his body through the ball. I get what he was trying to do, and he was actually calling to him.
Thanks, Jude.
But still, he had to go for it.
What's behind me?
Plenty of players around this ball. Just over 4 minutes remaining in the first half. The Dockers led by 3 points at quarter time. It's the same margin at the moment as Morabito trying to do something about that. Very high kick, right to the line. just to behind.
Shamma not all that happy with Morabito. He was on for the little give. He was outside him when he had a snap. He's a good young player, Morabito. He's going to be a beauty. They've got a good future, Fremantle, with their kids.
Yours.
Wide kick is a good one to Grundy.
Fine there, Michael. Fine. Play on.
Kennelly's kick. Well, Richards. Richards was thought about just letting that go.
Yep.
Changed his mind just in time.
They've got a mismatch here in favour of Sydney because Lewis Jetta will either have Hazelby or Zach Clark deep in the forward line.
Yeah, they're going to get it to him. That's going to be a problem.
Well, they've got a boundary throw it now. So Fremantle will correct this situation now. Paul Hazelby, he's screaming players back because he doesn't want to be one-on-one with Lewis Jetta in the goal square.
Right.
Again, the Dockers winning the clearance. Malcheski. McVie laid the tackle. Morabito puts one on Bevan. They dance together.
Two good tackles there. Yeah, two good tackles there by Fremantle. One by McPhee and one by Morabito because they not only tackled with intent, but they held the ball in, so Sydney couldn't get that handball over the top because they were away. They would have spread after that.
Here's Broughton. Got it from McPhee. Positive build-up. Hazelby to the pocket he goes. De Boer stayed on it. Might have won a free kick there. Gee, he goes hard at the foot.
He does, and he knows no other gear but flat out at each of the contests, and that's why Mark Harvey's put him up there, because he's effective. You don't die wondering with this kid, and that's the future. He just kept going. He held his ground, which was more important. Probably out position, but he didn't go to ground with the ball coming into the forward line, and held his feet, and then won the next contest, got himself a free kick.
You're disappointed there, Marty Matner.
Yep. De Boer kicked a goal already. This for his second, but to give the Dockers their biggest lead of the game, they'll be out to a 10-point margin just prior to half-time. Big kick this. Failed in his endeavour.
It's actually become a very important position, that type of player, like De Boer in the forward line, to put the defensive pressure on. We know about once it's in there, you want to try and keep it in at all costs. We've seen a lot more of those negative sort of half-forward flankers. Yeah. Well, he's probably the best forward today.
Yep.
The most dangerous forward because he's on the move the whole time, as well as being pretty good defensively.
Play on.
Kennelly told the move. Shorts it up the line. Bevan, and he thinks about the switch back in the middle to Jetta.
Michael, play on.
Trying to get the loose man. They may get it over to... Now, Grundy can keep going. It should work to Malcheski. But from here, there's got one option, and that's Richards. A beautiful kick.
It's on his
Richards,
bike.
yep. He'll cut back through the middle. Wider target short. Longer. McGlynn. Into the sunlight it goes. And McGlynn, strong hands. Wants a 50.
He got it.
Yep.
He got it too.
Happy days, Ben McGlynn. He gets it.
Was it in the motion of marking, or was it after the mark? That's the rule, Liam.
Yeah, well, I think it was a 50.
It was a 50?
Yep. Well, you push a bloke after he's taken a mark. I know you're frustrated.
Did he do it before or after the action? That's what I'm asking.
Second goal for McGlynn. Swans back in front.
Well, it was a good transfer play by Sydney. They went one end of the ground to the other. See Luke McFarlane coming off. But did he take the mark? Oh, yes, he did, yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit silly by Luke McFarlane, experienced player. It was very lazy.
It was a bit lazy, wasn't it?
Suns in your eyes, yeah, fair enough.
Well, what he was trying to do, he was looking for the long kick, so he was trying to plug the gap between Adam Goods and the ball with bloke with the footy.
Yep.
And the kick was just a ripper to the advantage of little McGlynn. And a nice little finish.
Well, he's the best man on the ground, isn't he? He's kicked 2 goals.
Absolutely.
He's had 14 disposals, 6 marks. And he's very dangerous up forward.
Well, it's not what Fremantle wanted with 2 minutes to go. They look like going 10 points up with De Boer having an easy shot on goal. He misses it, and they go the other end of the ground and hit the front with a minute to go.
Yeah. Missed opportunities in these games. Both teams in the 8.
And you know it's not going to be a high-scoring game. I mean, it's 36-37 for half a game, because that's what you're going to get with Sydney. They've closed it down to their tempo.
Have a look at what we're seeing now. I mean, this is just classic Swans. And they'll work it out in tight. They get it out to Grundy and turn McVeigh. Strong hands, Goods. Minute to go.
2
He only had the 8 touches. Hasn't had a real impact at this stage, Adam Goods. But it's 23 inside 50 to 16, Sydney. But they haven't had a lot of fluency in their entries, especially this quarter.
Play on.
So still time for either side for a goal here. From the throw-in. Mumford in front. It's a clever knock. It ends up with Kieran Jack.
Goods got his name all over this.
He's going to get it eventually. Off the spot from Ibbotson. Gives off to Hanbury. Short pass from him.
Go through, Matty. Yep.
And he gets it to Bevan.
The runner's coming out and just telling him there's 30 seconds left. Go back, have a shot.
Thanks, Paul.
Take time off the clock. They get another one before half-time. Mark Harvey and Fremantle will be very disappointed.
He's kicked 3 for the year, Bevan. Now he saw De Boer. Missed his opportunity. What will Bevan do? Clock ticks down. Swans up by 1. This could mean 7 at half-time. It's coming back, but is it coming back quick enough? Straight on the post. And straight on the siren. So we knew it was going to be a close game. Well, we didn't know. We had a feeling at the start of the day it would be a close game. The Dockers led by 3 points at quarter time. The Swans, courtesy of that last goal to Ben McGlynn, now pinch a lead of 2 points at half time.